You drive past it every day on your way to work. Mile after mile of silent parking lots. Empty loading docks with weeds pushing through the concrete. Factory windows so dirty you can't see inside anymore. This wasn't always a graveyard. 20 years ago, this place hummed with life. 30,000 people clocked in here every morning. Families bought homes. Kids went to good schools. The local diner stayed open 24 hours because there was always another shift coming through the door. You remember when your father worked here. He'd come home with grease under his fingernails and pride in his voice. He helped build something. Every car that rolled off that line carried a piece of him with it. He wasn't just assembling parts. He was part of something bigger. A promise. The American promise. Work hard, play by the rules, and you'll have a good life. Your kids will have it better, but promises don't rust. Buildings do. It started so quietly you didn't notice. A memo here. A restructuring there. The company said they were modernizing. Efficiency. Global competition. Shareholder value. Words that sounded important in boardrooms, but meant nothing on the factory floor. Your father shrugged it off. This place had survived oil shocks and recessions. It would survive this too. Then came the first round of layoffs. Not many. Just 200 people. The company called it trimming the fat. Your father still had his job. He felt guilty about that. His friend Rick didn't make the cut. 23 years on the line, and Rick got a severance package and a handshake. Rick said he'd find something else. There were other plants, other opportunities. Rick never found another job that paid even half what he used to make. The local news barely covered it. 200 jobs in a town of 50,000. It wasn't a crisis. Not yet. You started noticing the changes around town. The hardware store closed. The owner said business was slow. People were watching their money. The good Italian restaurant downtown put up a for lease sign. Your mother said it was a shame. They had the best lasagna. These things happen, your father said. Businesses come and go, but more kept going than coming. The second round of layoffs hit a year later. 1,500 people this time. The company announced they were consolidating operations, moving some production to a newer facility in the south. Lower costs. Right to work state. Your father survived again, but you could see the fear in his eyes now. He stopped talking about retirement. He started talking about holding on. The parking lots at the complex weren't full anymore. Whole sections sat empty. The maintenance crews got smaller. Little things stopped getting fixed. A broken light here, cracked pavement there. The place started looking tired. Downtown started looking worse. 3 more stores closed. The movie theater cut back to weekends only. The school district announced budget cuts. Fewer teachers. Bigger class sizes, no money for sports programs. Parents stood up at school board meetings and asked where the tax revenue went. The answer was simple. It was clocking out and driving away, looking for work somewhere else. Your father came home quiet more often. The rumors on the floor were getting darker. Whispers about closing entire sections. Moving more work overseas. Robots replacing whole teams. He'd sit at the kitchen table with bills spread out in front of him, doing math that never added up the way he needed it to. You were in college then. State school. He was so proud when you got in. He worked overtime to help pay for it. He wanted you to have what he never did. A degree. Options. A future that didn't depend on a factory whistle. Then the announcement came. The company was shutting down the main assembly plant. 3,000 more jobs gone. They'd keep a smaller operation running for parts and service, but the heart of the complex was stopping. Your father was 56 years old, too young to retire, too old to start over. The severance package was insulting. 6 months' pay for 32 years of work. You came home that weekend. The house felt different, smaller. Your father sat in his chair, and stared at the television without really watching it. Your mother kept busy in the kitchen, cooking food nobody was hungry for. Nobody knew what to say. What do you say when the floor drops out from under everything you built your life on? The local news covered it this time. Reporters stood outside the plant gates, interviewing workers leaving their final shifts. Everyone said the same things. Shock, betrayal, fear. Where were they supposed to go? What were they supposed to do? Some had already started applying for jobs. Retail, fast food, anything. Most of those jobs paid $10 an hour, maybe $12. These were people who'd made $30 an hour with benefits and pensions. The math didn't work anymore. You watched your town change in real time. For sale signs multiplied like weeds. People couldn't afford their mortgages on unemployment. The bank foreclosed on Rick's house. He moved in with his daughter 3 states away. Your father's friend Tommy tried to make it work. He took a job at the big box store stocking shelves at night. His wife worked at a call center. Together, they made about 60% of what Tommy used to make alone. They lost their house anyway. The complex sat there like a corpse. Chain-link fences went up around the empty buildings. Security lights still burned at night, illuminating nothing. No cars in the lots. No smoke from the stacks. Just silence and rust. You could see it from the highway. A monument to something that used to matter. Your father found work eventually. Part-time. Warehouse job. No benefits. He never talked about it. He'd come home, and you could see he was tired in a different way now. Not the tired of honest work. The tired of defeat. Other stores closed downtown. The pharmacy. The bank branch. Even the diner finally gave up after 70 years. There wasn't another shift coming through the door anymore. Main Street looked like a movie set after filming wrapped. Buildings still standing, but hollow inside. Empty windows staring at empty sidewalks. The school district cut deeper. They closed the elementary school on the east side and consolidated. Your old teachers took payouts or moved to districts that could still afford to pay them. The high school football team had to forfeit games because they couldn't field enough players. Too many families had moved away chasing work. You got your degree. Your father came to graduation. He smiled and took pictures and told everyone how proud he was. You got a job offer in another city. Good job. Salary, benefits, future, everything he wanted for you. You took it. You had to. There was nothing for you here anymore. Your father understood. He told you to go. Build your life. Don't look back, but you saw something in his eyes. Not resentment, sadness. You were part of the exodus now. Another person leaving. Another piece of what this place used to be, driving away and not coming back. You visit a few times a year. The town keeps shrinking. The population dropped by 1/3 in 10 years. Whole neighborhoods sit abandoned. Houses deteriorating, yards overgrown. The complex looks worse every time you see it. Windows broken now. Graffiti on the walls. Parts of the roof collapsing. Nature taking back what industry built. The people who stayed are older now. Harder. There's anger in town meetings. Arguments about whose fault it is. The company, the union, the government, global trade. Nobody agrees on the cause, but everyone agrees on the effect. This place is dying. Not quickly. Slowly, painfully, block by block, year by year. Your father still lives in the same house. He's 70 now, still working part-time because his pension got cut when the company restructured in bankruptcy. Still doing math that doesn't add up. Your mother's health isn't good. The medical bills are piling up. The insurance from his warehouse job barely covers anything. They talk about selling the house, but who would buy it? The last house on their street sold for $30,000. They paid $90,000 for theirs in 1987. You send money when you can. It helps, but it doesn't fix anything. Nothing fixes this. You can't fix 30,000 missing jobs. You can't fix a community that had its reason for existing ripped away. You can't fix the broken promise. Sometimes you wonder what the executives who made the decisions think about. Do they drive past towns like this? Do they see what their spreadsheets did to real people? Do they care? Probably not. The quarterly earnings were good. The stock price went up. The shareholders were happy. That's what mattered. That's all that ever mattered. The complex still stands. A rusting cathedral to a time when America made things and people who made them could make a life. Your father drove past it last week. He told you on the phone they're talking about tearing it down. The land might be worth something. Maybe a distribution center. Amazon or Walmart. Minimum wage jobs with no benefits. Part-time schedules that keep people just poor enough to need government assistance, but just employed enough to not qualify for much. Progress, he'll call it. Your father laughed when he said it. Not a happy laugh. The laugh of a man who understands the joke even though it's on him. He worked 32 years building cars people drove across the country. Now the building where he built them will be demolished, so other people can pack boxes of cheap plastic made in countries where workers make in a month what he used to make in a day. He didn't sound bitter, just tired. So tired. You hung up the phone and sat in your apartment in your successful city with your good job and felt the weight of it. The distance between where you are and where you came from. The guilt of escape. The knowledge that your success is built on the bones of a world that doesn't exist anymore. A world where people like your father could build something and expect to be rewarded for it. That world is gone. It's not coming back. And somewhere in America right now, another factory is closing. Another town is learning what comes after the promise breaks. Another generation is discovering that working hard and playing by the rules isn't enough anymore. Maybe it never was. Maybe your father's generation just got lucky. Right place, right time, right moment in history when labor had leverage and capital needed them. That moment passed. The complex sits empty. Soon it will be rubble. Then it will be something else. Something cheaper. Something more efficient. Something that will never employ 30,000 people or sustain a community or keep a promise. You drive past places like it now in your own city. You see the signs, the layoffs, the consolidations, the efficiency improvements. You wonder how long before this place starts looking like home. How long before your neighbors start doing math that doesn't add up. How long before someone else's father sits at a kitchen table wondering what happened to the promise. The answer is already written in rust on buildings across America. The promise wasn't a guarantee. It was always temporary, always conditional, always one shareholder meeting away from ending. Your father knows that now. You know that now. And somewhere, someone is about to learn it. The complex they drive past every day, the one that feels permanent and solid and real, is already dying. They just don't see it yet. They still believe in the promise. They still think their hard work means something beyond this quarter's earnings report. They'll learn. Everyone learns eventually. America built the perfect auto complex. State of the art. Thousands of jobs. A whole community's future. Then it did what America does best. It squeezed every penny of profit from it, shipped the work overseas, and left the people who built it to figure out survival in the rubble. The complex is almost gone now. Soon there won't be anything left but photographs and memories, and your father's stories that your children won't really understand. They'll nod politely when he talks about the old days. They won't comprehend what was lost. They can't. They never saw it when it was alive. But you did. You remember when those parking lots were full, when that whistle meant something, when a man could work with his hands and build a life that mattered. You remember the promise. And you remember watching it rust away, one closed factory, one lost job, one broken dream at a time, until nothing was left but empty buildings and a question nobody wants to answer. What happens to people when the promise dies? You're looking at it. Drive through any town in America where the factory closed. That's your answer. That's what happens. And it's still happening. Right now. Somewhere. To someone. The complex they depend on is already dying. They just don't know it yet. They will.